Welcome to Rich Insider. Today we're taking a closer look into an issue that's been weighing heavily on everyone's minds lately, the state of Canada and the fading Canadian dream. Canada has always been lauded as this idyllic land of opportunity, known for its stunning landscapes, friendly people, and a quality of life that's the envy of the world. But lately a different narrative has been emerging, one of struggle, affordability crises, and a decline in overall well-being. From soaring housing prices to healthcare systems stretched thin, Canadians are facing an uphill battle. Previously known for its maple syrup, ice hockey, and high levels of safety, Canada is now suffering from the very reasons. Canadian streets are getting more and more unsafe with each passing day. In the past, the United Nations consistently ranked Canada as one of the world's best places to live. But when you take a closer look, things are changing for all the wrong reasons. The Canadian dream may have lost its essence a bit over the past few years, particularly after 2020. But what led to this struggle in Canada? On top of all this, Trump's tariff plans to tax 25% of Canadian goods will only make things worse for Canada. In fact, $2.7 billion worth of goods and services cross the border each day from Canada to the United States. Is there a solution that can help fix the Canadian economy? Most importantly, will Canadians get to live and enjoy their country as they once used to? Come, let's find out in this video. Without further ado, let's dive in. Let's talk about housing, or more accurately, the lack of affordable housing. We've all heard the stories. Young people stuck living with their parents, families squeezed into cramped apartments, and essential workers forced to commute for hours. This isn't just a big city problem, it's happening across the country. In Vancouver and Toronto, the average home price is now well over $1 million. For most Canadians, owning a home in these cities feels like an impossible dream. But it's not just about owning a home anymore, it's about having a place to live. In fact, rent prices have skyrocketed, pushing more people to the brink. According to new reports, the average asking rental price in Canada surpassed $2,200 to reach a record high this year. It's a vicious cycle where increasing demand collides with a limited supply of affordable housing. Canadians need to ask tough questions about zoning laws, building regulations, and the role of speculation in driving up prices. Because when shelter becomes a luxury, we've got a serious problem. Overwhelmed emergency rooms, lack of access to a family doctor, and healthcare workers under enormous strain is getting way too common in Canada. Yeah, Canada's universal healthcare system is not exactly living up to its reputation these days. The reality is far from the ideal. Canada has rising rates of diabetes, low rates of immunization, and health disparities among several communities. Across the country, Canadians are facing increasingly long wait times for essential healthcare services. It's a growing concern that affects everyone. The waiting time is so long that it can take months, sometimes even years, to get an appointment with the doctor. The backlog is overwhelming and it's causing a lot of frustration. It's gotten to the point where people are forced to choose between their health and their financial well-being. This is a choice no one should have to make. So, what's at the root of this healthcare bottleneck? Why are we facing such a crisis? First, we have a shortage of healthcare workers. This shortage is felt acutely across the country. There is a desperate need for more doctors, nurses, and other healthcare professionals, especially in rural and remote areas. These areas are often the hardest hit. Canada's aging demographics are also putting a strain onto the system. As the population ages, the demand for healthcare services increases. But there's another pressing issue that's affecting Canadians every day. Let's talk about inflation. Inflation in Canada is hitting new records in recent years. The Consumer Price Index, also known as CPI, rose 2% on a year-over-year basis in the last quarter. This means everyday essentials like groceries, electricity, shelter, and gas are becoming increasingly unaffordable. These are the basics things we can't live without. It's a frustrating reality for many. The cost of living seems to be going up faster than income levels, and Canadians are feeling the pinch, especially when wages are barely rising. Due to all this, the purchasing power of the average Canadian is also diminishing. Winter months are especially tough for many Canadians as home heating can significantly increase the bills. This relentless rise in the cost of living is pushing more Canadians to food banks and other support services. On top of this, Trump has said he would impose a 25% tariff on all products entering the US from Canada and Mexico as one of his first executive orders. This would only make things worse for Canadians, since Canada is one of the most trade-dependent countries in the world, and 77% of Canada's exports go to the United States. Now, let's talk about jobs and unemployment. Canada has always prided itself on having a strong job market, a place where hard work is rewarded with a good living. But the reality is that the job market is changing, and not necessarily for the better. The days of graduating from university and walking into a secure, well-paying job with benefits are becoming increasingly rare. Instead, many Canadians, especially young people, are finding themselves trapped in a cycle of precarious gig work and part-time jobs. This gig economy often lacks basic worker protections, benefits, and any sense of job security. Canada needs to create more good-paying, stable jobs that offer a living wage and benefits to its citizens. So far, we've talked about the economic realities facing Canadians, the housing crisis, the strain on healthcare, rising inflation, and the challenges in the job market. But what about the human cost? What happens when the dream of a good life starts to feel unattainable? The answer, unfortunately, is a growing mental health crisis. Canadians are experiencing record levels of stress, anxiety, and burnout. The constant pressure to make ends meet, find affordable housing, and access timely healthcare takes a toll on our collective well-being. Canada is seeing a surge in depression, anxiety disorders, and even substance abuse as people struggle to cope. The Canadian dream has always been about more than just material wealth. It's about the promise of a fulfilling and balanced life. But right now, for many Canadians, that dream feels increasingly out of reach. The mental health crisis is a wake-up call. It's a signal that Canada needs to rethink its priorities and invest in the well-being of its citizens. This means not only providing better access to mental health services, but also addressing the root causes of stress and anxiety. The government needs to ensure that everyone has access to affordable housing, quality healthcare, and stable employment. It's time to take action and build a society where the Canadian dream is within reach for everyone. Because a safe, healthy, and happy population is the true measure of a nation's success. As we've seen, Canada is facing a confluence of challenges that are eroding the quality of life for many of its citizens. From the housing crisis and the strained healthcare system to rising inflation and job market uncertainties, the path to achieving the Canadian dream is becoming increasingly fraught with obstacles. The decisions made today will determine whether the Canadian dream remains a tangible aspiration or fades into a distant memory. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Also, are you considering to leave Canada? Let us know your first-hand experiences. We'd love to see you join us in the conversation below. And don't forget to subscribe for more deep dives into the issues shaping our world. Until next time, take care.